So today we're going to be in the book of Ephesians, chapter 4, verses 1 through 6. And here's what Paul says. He says, "Therefore I, the prisoner in the Lord, urge you to walk worthy of the calling you have received, with all humility and gentleness, with patience, bearing one another in love, and making every effort to keep the unity of the Spirit through the bond of peace. There is one body, one Spirit, just as you were called to one hope at your calling. One Lord, one faith, one baptism, one God and Father of all, who is above all and through all and in all." It's truly just beautiful, beautiful passage to read through. And here's what Paul is talking about. He's talking about unity and unity within the church. One of the key things he's actually talking through is the attitude of a disciple. So what he's talking about there, as we said it, he says, with all humility and gentleness, with patience. Humility, gentleness. And there, what he's really trying to get at is being in control of your emotions, and with patience. Well, what's the importance of unity within the church as a movement? Well, it won't take long for you to think of a moment, whether it's in your parenting or your marriage or relationship, where a lack of unity, a breakdown in unity, caused regrets or some kind of hurdle to work through. I can personally say that in my marriage, just the other night, we were putting my daughter to bed, and my wife and I both experienced a little disunity in how the night was going to go. We have a typical rhythm. We read a book, and then we read our Bible and our prayers in another book. And I kind of broke that method up, allowing my daughter to do something a little different than my wife was expecting. And we talked about it later, and just a little bit of her frustration and how I wasn't caring for her needs or really trying to make sure that our daughter was doing what we kind of had already agreed on doing. It wasn't an easy or fun conversation, but in that, we had to work through what went wrong so that we could be unified, because we all know a unified marriage or unified parents are what's really going to help our kids grow to love God and love people. I bet there are plenty of examples that you can think of the same. So what Paul's doing here is he's saying, here's what the attitude of a disciple is. Here's how we create unity amongst the church. I mean, think about it now. The church is full of sinners. How are we supposed to make sure that the church does what it's supposed to do if it's really not a country club for saints, but it is actually a hospital for sinners where people are going to come in broken? They're going to be learning alongside one another what it truly means to follow Jesus. So he lays out 3 attitudes that we should be focused on: humility, gentleness, and patience. And through that, he says that there's one body. We can be one body, unified through the Holy Spirit. And that's truly beautiful. Actually, there's this quote by A.W. Tozer, an author and pastor, that I just found beautiful. I'd love to read it to you. He says, "A church can have light only as it is full of the Spirit, and it can be full only as the members that compose it are filled individually." So, we as disciples, we bear the responsibility towards the unity of the church through how we're following what the Holy Spirit is leading us to do, how we can live as a follower, a disciple, an apprentice of the way of Jesus. And Paul lays it out here. What that is, it's humility, it's gentleness, and it's patience. And the bottom line here is it's essential for us to live with those attitudes so that the Holy Spirit can direct us and unite us in the work that God is doing here in our communities and all over the globe. So today, I want to ask you, is your life marked by humility and gentleness and patience? If not, and you're needing some of that, as I know each and every day I do too, something that helps me is I look to and remember and appreciate the grace that God has already given me through the sacrifice that Jesus made each and every day, waking up, remembering, and showing gratitude for that grace. And so when you do that, and you're looking to find a little more humility or a little more patience or gentleness in your daily walk through relationships or situations that you find yourself in, take a step back and remember the grace you have received, and then in turn, give it to others. Grace and peace to you all today. Have a great one.